What's going on, everyone? Justin here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's the continued restoration of my 2011 Lotus Evora S. And so this is going to be a decently short episode, I'd imagine. It's primarily just going to be around preparation for the windshield install, which I have scheduled for tomorrow. It's now 10 o'clock at night. I'm not going to be spending too much time in here. I just basically want to make sure everything's in place for the windshield install, and the big items that I need to install on the car are out of the way, namely the dashboard and the headliner. So I'm just going to be jumping right into that, starting with an overview of the headliner momentarily. So stand by. All right, so let's talk headliner. This is the headliner that I had upholstered about 3 months ago. It looks very pretty. And this is suede to match the rest of the interior. It's going to look awesome when it's done. The headliner itself, I stuck it in through the windshield because there's a huge gaping hole here, rather than going in through the door, which would have been a little bit more arduous. Plus, I didn't want to risk marring up the new headliner or bending it or whatever. Took the path of least resistance. So in through the windshield it goes. I did not secure it up to the roof yet because I didn't want it to be in the way of the windshield install. When this is in place, it comes very close to the top here, and I didn't want to bother the installers with that. So I'm going to leave it down for now. I did a preliminary install of the home link. That's what this is here. Some of the wiring was damaged, so I had to repair that. Not a big deal. It's actually the only wiring I found that was bad in the car. Not sure what this adapter is, but that's plugged off. Not a worry. Dome light. So dome light, home link, pretty much all there is to it. I re-glued these down, these little spacers or whatever, and then I adhered new Velcro. This Velcro is what secures it to the top. On top of, there's 2 bolts that are going to be on the back, and then the sun visors up front. So that's pretty much all that holds the headliner in place, in addition to the pillars, the B pillars or whatever you call these. That'll also hold it in place, I guess, due to friction. All right, so that's the headliner. The windshield itself, if you watched my older videos, I uninstalled it using a cold knife, and it went pretty well. Didn't really mess anything up, but there is broken glass in spots because the windshield was broken when I got the car. So I'm not really sure how the installer is going to deal with it, but they're pros, so I'm not really too worried about it. There's a couple of chunks of the sealant that's missing here. Again, I guess they're going to have to fill this in. Definitely don't want any leaks in this car, and so yeah, but these guys are pros. They were actually referred from a friend of mine, and we're going to see how it goes. But basically, they charged me $400 to put the windshield in. It's a used windshield. If they had to source it, it was going to be, I think, $600, and then the cheapest rate that they could find, since Lotus didn't release the aftermarket rights to the glass, was like $2,700. And so I got the windshield for $600 used, and then $400 for the install. So you're talking $1,000 versus $2,700 plus $600. So definitely a significant saving going this route, which is why I did that. All right, so that'll be the windshield. And while the windshield is out, you could also see I explained the situation with the subframe being removed, so they don't have to lean over the clam. So they allocated a 3-hour install window to get this in place. It's going to go a lot faster, I'd imagine, because they don't have to like step over anything, so it should be easy for them. Anyway, what was I going to say? The dash. I also want to install while the windshield is out, just because it's really easy to get to anything. You can see the dashboard. I had this also recovered in vinyl instead of the leather. Vinyl is not going to shrink at the same way that leather is going to. This also looks very nice. It's a high quality vinyl at the head of the upholstery shop. I did a preliminary install of the vents. These were painted, so I sanded these down, painted them, and cleared them with matte finish, so they look pretty good. The vents themselves, these like, I guess, I don't know what you call them, the inserts or whatever. This isn't installed yet, but there's only 2 screws that hold it in place. There's a screw down here, Phillips, and then there's one in the back. This has to be removed to get access to it. And then you have the eyeball, whatever you call that, that actually pops in place. There is a small clip, and I took a picture of this when I was disassembling the car because I didn't want to forget about it. There's a small clip that goes in right here. So you can see there's kind of like a indent, and this goes in here. And that's so that when you're spinning this thing around, I guess it has indentations on it. So yeah, don't want to forget those little clips. It's going to be easy to lose. And then the tweeters. So the tweeters, I have aftermarket tweeters going in. These are Infinity Kappas. And basically they had two different mounting cups to use with the tweeters. So there were these, and then the ones that I actually have in place. These are threaded. So they were threaded and they were a perfect diameter to fit in. You can see it's pretty snug. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to since it's threaded, I'm literally going to screw it in place. And then I'm going to insert the tweeter wiring through there. The tweeter actually locks into that mounting cup. And I'm going to have to extend these wires a little bit so that they'll reach down and then connect to the crossovers that I mounted in the stock crossover position. That should be about it. Some placement dowels I still need to install on the dash. So I have to figure out, there's a few of these, I got to figure out where they go, which ones go where, and then some brackets and whatever, but I don't think I have to attach these now. I could probably just do that afterwards. Last thing I wanted to mention briefly, there are two covers as part of the dash. There's the one that goes behind the gauge cluster. This I had recovered and it was warped. It's a common issue with these cars. So from sitting in the sunlight, I guess, it's really light material. It's like a light foam. I glued this in place, evident by the clamps and then a little bit of epoxy that I have here. So this is glued down. I don't really see a reason for this to come up. I don't know what you get access to. That's, when I was trying to look at it behind the cluster, I really just don't know what the reason for making this removable is. But it's glued down. If I need to remove it, I can. And then you have the airbag, passenger side airbag. Obviously, the airbags went off in this car. And this is what I'm left with, is this bracket. The foam that was attached was completely disintegrated. And so what I'm planning on doing is either 3D printing a filler or getting a piece of foam from a craft store and then cutting it to the shape and vinyl wrapping it, because I really don't feel like spending another $600 just on a piece of foam. The one thing I'm not going to screw with is there are little clips here that break when the airbag goes off. So I'm going to use the factory Lotus hardware. And that's pretty much it. It's not rocket science. You got regular 8mm threaded studs that go through. Those get secured on the bottom. And then you have, like I said, these two plastic clips. And then just the foam piece that covers that so it looks presentable. So anyway, that's it with the dash. I'm going to continue working on this because I want to get this done tonight. And if there's anything else I stumble across, I'll make sure to share. All right, it's past midnight. I've been working on this for about 2 hours, and I'm going to wrap it up here. So basically, what we're looking at is the dashboard is kind of shimmied into place. There are 3 dowels that secure it, and that's literally all I've done so far, is just put the dowels and then kind of like placed it where it's supposed to be. Not secured by any bolts or anything, because I really want to get and crawl underneath this thing and make sure it looks good. But I really need the headliner out of the way. I don't want to be competing with that. So just going to leave it like this. I did want to point out these vents were definitely a PITA. And there's a little clip, like I had mentioned earlier. And getting that thing in place and pushing that actually took like about 20 minutes. The tweeters, straightforward. I extended the wires and I used, I think these are called like RCXT connectors. Yeah, XT60HF. So basically they're keyed, gold plated. I love these things. So I have the male on this end, on the tweeter end, and then the female is going to be on the crossover end. So that'll be a plug and play ordeal. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So dash is in, headliner is just going to sit there, and I'm going to bed. To be continued. Thanks.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. All right, so it's been a couple of days. The windshield install has been completed, and this is what it looked like. Check it out. here's the end result. Windshield's installed. This is pretty pristine. You got to keep in mind this is a used windshield, but I don't really see any pitting. Pretty impressed by it. The installers that were here, they said the same thing. Basically, they just gave it a wipe down with a cloth and some Windex, and that was it. Cleaned up really nice. It was straightforward install. So a couple things to point out there. You do have to get 2 seals from Lotus. So there's a top seal that gets attached to the windshield before the install, and then there's also a bottom one. And then they used a Sika bond. It's kind of like a silicone in this big tube or whatever, if you saw in the video briefly. And that's the bonding agent that gets applied around the entire windshield before they press it in place. There were a couple of trouble spots. There's a little channel down here. There's another channel on that side. So they had to apply a little bit extra to make sure that there weren't going to be any issues here. And that was it. Really not much else to say. So windshield is done. I'm going to need a new rear view mirror on the other side with the adhesive. The rear view mirror that was in the car was a little bit beat up looking, and it's cheap enough from Lotus. I think it's only like $30. So I'm just going to get a new one of those. New interior, new used windshield. I figured I would just get a used or new mirror to go along with it. So anyway, that's that. I do have carbon A-pillars. You know, I actually did a separate video where I had recorded the struggles that I had with it, but basically the long and short of it is I have A-pillars. I originally ordered them from this other place, a lease shop in the Netherlands, but had major issues with that place. They basically sent me defective A-pillars, and so I had to get GRP ones instead. So I have GRP ones. I'm going to leave them downstairs. I don't want them getting scratched, so I'll install those last. But that'll cover this, and that addresses also the issue with the factory ones that tend to crack, from what I've heard. And obviously the ones that were on here were in pretty bad shape and they were cracked anyway. So that concludes this. Headliner is installed. I did that last night. It basically just pressed up. There's 2 clips in the back, and then the sun visor is going to hold it in place here, and then you have your little weather stripping on the other side. That's going to hold the headliner up as well. So happy with how that looks. And so I'm going to be getting back into the interior. This thing's starting to look more like a car every day, so I'm getting really excited now. And I'd love to get to the subframe, but I really need to get some of this interior stuff off the floor. So I'm going to do the interior right now. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and the kids are asleep, so it'll be a nice time to do it. And that's pretty much it. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, and then onward to get this car back together. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Take care.